Well, good afternoon, my stamping friends. This is Leslie with LuvINK&Paper, and I have, due to some inspiration from other wonderful demonstrators, I have a couple of alternative projects for you today. I was really busy over the weekend. I was at Women's Weekend, which is a fabulous event held here in southwestern New Hampshire at a local Y camp. And it is just what it sounds like, Women's Weekend. So you get to go, there's just women there, and there's all kinds of fun things to try out and do and classes to take, and it was really fun. And I got to stamp with whole lots of wonderful ladies, and we had a good time. So I did have to rely on a little bit of inspiration from some other demonstrators for our alternates this month. So remember that if you are not able to catch me live, and I usually do this right around this time, 4 or 4:30 in the afternoon on the last Monday of the month, I need to make sure my kit is here before I can offer any alternates. So anyway, and then so you can watch it live if you're able, and if you're not, you can always catch the replay on Facebook, or you can hop over to my YouTube channel, and I post those. I have a paper pumpkin playlist, so if you check that out, the videos are there by month. So I usually try to make sure in the description or in the name of the video that I put the month, the year, and the name of the kit. So if you know the month and the year, you're good. If you know the name of the kit, you're good. You should be able to find it over there if you want, okay? All right, so let's kind of get going here. So let me just show you what the kit was designed to make. So I unboxed and made these a week or so ago. I jumped on live real quick because the postman had brought my my kit. Actually, kits, plural. I have 2 that are not currently spoken for. So if you love this and you somehow missed out, you are welcome to get in touch with me. And if they have not been spoken for, I would be happy to get a kit to you. So they make these fabulous little bag, envelope kinds of things. Back in the day, we sometimes called them bagalopes because we made them out of envelopes. And anyway, so there's a little bag. It comes all pre-folded, and you just need to kind of pinch along the folds and add the beautiful decoration and whatever greeting you would like to add. So that's one of the things. And then the other things were these little mini cards. These can't go in the mail. These would be great to add to like a hostess gift, or going to see somebody for Thanksgiving, or you know, just some fall kind of time when you are sharing some caring and some gratitude. Okay. I don't tend to do a whole lot of these little cards, so I cut some of this up and used the die cuts that would have gone with one of these, and you got enough to make 8 to do a couple of other cards. So let's take a look at our first card. Okay, so our first card, I added a little bit. Oh, let me just quick talk to you about something. I tend to, you will see that I use the more ergonomic Stampin' Up! Blocks in a variety of sizes that I just find easier. And also I substitute my larger size pad. But with your very first kit, you do get an acrylic block so that you can use your stamps with that. Okay, so I've got the stamp that makes sort of this beautiful foliage image. And I am going to bring in a little bit of scrap paper here because I want to do, I want to get two different colors out of this. And if you stamp off, you can do that. So I ink up my stamp, I stamp it off on the scrap paper, and I get a lot of the ink off. It's not all gone. And then I have a sponge dauber. Now some people are really good at like rolling their stamp and just catching the edges. I am not one of those people. So I just take a sponge dauber and kind of go around the edge so that it will be darker around the edge of the leaves. So I'll add a little here. So I'm just picking up some of that Lost Lagoon ink and kind of going around the edges a little bit like that. And so you'll see when I go to stamp on this, and I am going to just exhale heavily on it like that. And then we're just going to stamp it over here. And I'm going to give it just a second to let that ink transfer because I did take kind of a lot off. So let's see how that worked. So we have that. Isn't that pretty? So you get the different tones. All right, so then I'm going to really quickly fussy cut this out. Now I have been told that my hints on fussy cutting are quite helpful. So first I do what I call rough cut. So first I get rid of the big extra, okay? And then I'm gonna just go and I'm gonna leave a little bit of a border. And if you notice, the hand with the scissors, all it does is open and move forward, okay? My non-dominant hand, or the hand holding the paper, is actually doing all of, or most of, the work, okay? And then when you get these hanging things, I just cut them off, and then they're not banging into your fingers while you're trying to cut. Okay, so I'm going to start back in here at the inside part of the scissors, and I'm just going to keep turning and closing and move forward and turn. So my left hand is really doing so much more of the work, because what happens is if you try to turn your scissors, you're going to end up all kinds of turned around, and you could end up just having a real hard time. Plus this way your curves are definitely, I'm actually going to go way in here on this one. Your curves are much cleaner and softer. They're not harsh points, okay? You don't end up with those ragged edges where your scissors are at a bad angle, because you're just continuing to move that paper around like this, okay? So that didn't take long, and it looks pretty good. Let me put these back in where they go. I'm also going to take a Wink&Stella. There's a few things. If you are somebody that subscribes to Paper Pumpkin, there are a few tools that you might find helpful. One is our paper trimmer for trimming any extra cardstock. The other is thick basic white or thick vanilla cardstock for bases. Sometimes black works real well too, okay? And then a Wink&Stella, and I'll hold this up to the camera because I bet You'll be able to see it a little bit better when I do that. So the Wink&Stella pen is the most wonderful way to add glitter to your project that I have ever found. I love it because it's neat. It doesn't make a mess, and I don't end up wearing glitter where I don't want to. So here, I don't know if you, let me see if I can, oh, there. Can you see that? I can see that. I hope you can. So there's just, it just adds that little bit of shimmer to it. Okay. So have that, and I'm going to take this For You stamp, ink it up, and this is just a piece of the side of the box. So when let me show you what I did. So they come, oh, that's the piece I cut off. Yeah. Let me grab one of the other ones. Oh, now I'm stuck on a, oh goodness. Okay, here we go. So they come like this. So then you just, you know, pinch them down. But if you don't want to use them as a box, you just trim just the teeniest bit off of each side, and then it'll open up and you'll end up with, so this was this side, and then I've got a piece for another card that I used down here, okay? And then I just took one of the sides and trimmed it down pretty small, and I'll just stamp For You right on there, like that. And I'll take my snips and snip it off here like that, and I still have more if I want to do another one. Then I found the easiest way to banner cut an end, and I'm only going to do one end, but I found the easiest way is to cut right to the middle, okay, and as far as you want your banner. Then from each corner up to the top of that snip. And I find that rather than trying to go in and turn and come back out, this gives me what I think of as the most symmetrical flagged end as I can get. Okay. So we're going to have our, this is a Lost Lagoon, that's one of the coordinating colors, so I did add a couple of sheets of Lost Lagoon. And once I line up the edges, I'm going to go to the middle and push one direction, and now I'm going to go to the middle and push the other direction. And that gives me a nice crease, and if I go straight down, I can pull it and not have it be straight. So I find it's easiest to do it that way. Okay, and so this is one of the envelopes. And you really can't hardly see the score line from the envelope, but if it bothers you, you can just, on something soft, just sort of take the edge of something and just press it down. And if you haven't folded it, it almost disappears. Okay, so now we have that, and I'm just going to put that not quite centered. Okay, I don't quite want it centered like that. Oh, maybe, you know what? I think I want it over this way because I think I'm going to have this hanging over there. Okay, so, and also I don't always use the adhesive that comes in the kit. Sometimes the little glue dots are a little bit finicky, and this definitely didn't need tear and tape. Okay, that I save that for really, so projects where I really need a strong adhesive. So I'm just gonna put this, whoops, didn't break off when I was ready for it to. All right. So we'll put this, we decided, over on this edge. And that border is roughly the same. It's a little wider over here, but that's okay because we're going to add some things over here, like some linen thread, which I thought would look really pretty. And we have gotten this in previous kits, so if you have been a Paper Pumpkin subscriber for a while, you may have some of this. So I'm going to go ahead and make a pretty long bow, and you'll see why. Okay. So I want the tails to be pretty long. So I like to do the 2 bunny ears, okay, 2 sets of bunny ears. Now I have doubled this, so I'll get a double bow, which I just think is pretty. Okay, so I'm gonna just tie this in here. So I just like to kind of fidget with it until I get it tightened up the way I want it. Okay, like that. So now I have these nice long tails, so I can go all the way to my longest one over here, like that. Cut off all the extra. Okay. And I think I'm going to go ahead and put this up on dimensionals. So let's put a few of those. Dimensionals are another thing that if you've been a subscriber for a while, you probably have. Usually they give us a plenty of dimensionals. So you may have some extras in older kits if you've been a subscriber for a while. And I'm going to just put that up here like that, and then I'm going to grab a glue dot, also from a previous kit, and take one off using my take your pick tool. Whoops, remember I said nope, I couldn't do that because my pokey end is, so I have to get the pokey end for this one, but I have a paper piercing tool, so we'll just pick that up. I could also, if I didn't want to have another tool, I could use the tip of my scissors, my paper snips, and just pick that up and just put it kind of where I was thinking here, which is right here. And I've just kind of folded it a little bit so that it's narrower. And now I just lost my bow. Nope, I just pulled it into my lap. And so I'm just going to put that there. So we have these beautiful long tails. Okay, and you could tuck them behind a little bit if you wanted to, like that. Okay, or you can just let them do their thing. Okay, and then we'll add our For You, also with some dimensionals. Like this. Down here. Okay. So now we have that. And I brought over I thought I brought over some pieces for the insides of my cards, but they seem to have gotten buried. Okay, well, let me just take one more quick look And I guess yeah, here. Okay, well, what I often do is take a piece of white cardstock and I cut it 5 by 3.5, and that size I do on purpose because if you cut 5 on the 8.5 side, you have 3.5 left over, which you can then turn and get 2 5-inch long pieces. So you can get 5 insides. Oh wait, maybe these are them. There they were. They were just under the little bag. Okay, so what I do is you can get 3 of the 5-inch by 3.5 this way, and then you can get 2 3.5 by 5s going this way, all out of a piece of 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. And so I like to do that, and we'll bring our cardstock and our scrap paper back, and just in the corner, just to sort of remind us about the front, we'll just add a little bit of stamping to the inside, and then we'll put this on the inside of the card. Now if you had wanted to add another sentiment, you certainly could, but this way you have room for a little note to somebody. And for you could be for a whole lot of things. You could then put happy birthday or happy anniversary or any number of things when you say for you. It's pretty general kind of greeting. Okay. So there you have a piece of the envelope. Okay, so there's project number 1. So let's take, and here you'll see is where I've used the front part of the bag. We're going to kind of cover that up, and we're going to use some more of that linen thread. Okay. So this is very vanilla. It's thick cardstock. It's been scored. So this is the 11-inch direction. So 4.25 by 11, scored at 5.5. And I'm going to just make sure, see how, even though I scored it and stuff, sometimes they don't go exactly where you think they're going to. So I like to make sure that my corners are lined up and that I'm holding them tight. And then I just give that a little score, and that looks good. Okay. And this is Lost Lagoon, and I used our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine and the distressed tile embossing folder, which I thought looked really nice with this. And we'll just add some. Oh, hang on. I'm not going to do that just yet. I'm not going to put it on the card front. You'll see why in just a second. First, I'm going to put this on here. Then I'm going to wrap the twine around. Then I can put it on there. So we'll put a little bit of adhesive here. Okay. And put this like that. Okay. And then to sort of help disguise where that is, we're just going to take our linen thread and wrap it around a couple of times like this. Okay. Like this. Now, some people are really good at tying bows, and let me just show you what I often do. I keep a pair and you can get a pair in our embossing kit, but these pressure tweezers, so what happens is if I pull that and then put my pressure tweezers there, it acts like an extra hand. Okay, so I can just, of course I didn't leave myself enough thread here, so I'm trying to do it way short. Okay, let's see if we can get this to do what I want here. My fingers are feeling a little fat today. There we go. Okay. And then we can slide that out and then tighten that back up. Okay. And then you can just fidget with the bow a little bit till it's the way you want it. Okay, and then trim off. So you may notice that I don't give myself a length of twine and then, because you could get too much or too little. So I find I have much less waste if I actually leave it attached and then just adjust where I want it. And then it's usually much better. So we'll just wiggle those around a little bit like that. So there's that. I thought looked pretty. Okay. Then we'll add some of our fancy things. Let's put those out of the way. Okay. So let's add these kind of down here, and I think these are going to go flat. Down here. Like that. This is going to come up here. It can tuck under or it can go over the top. Doesn't really matter. You can kind of tuck it in underneath there. I think I'm going to add a couple of these glue dots. That'll make it easier. So we'll put a couple of glue dots on there. One down here near the edge. And one out here. Okay. And we'll take those backings off. And if anything is hanging over the edge, you can just fold it in. Like this one might be a little farther over the edge, but you just fold it in and it's fine. Like that. Just move it a little bit. And then we'll just tuck this in underneath there, like that. Okay. Then we have our pumpkins, and I think what I'm going to do is put this one, the orange one, flat, and then I'm going to pop the white one up a little bit on dimensionals. So let's put some adhesive on this pumpkin, the orange pumpkin. And you'll see that you can't even really tell where that line was, where that score line was. It's pretty much disappeared. So I'll put a little bit of adhesive. No, I think I'll put dimensionals on the whole thing. Sometimes if I'm supporting the edge with a couple of layers, I only put a dimensional on one side because the other side is supported, but I think for this one, we'll put that there. Okay, now we can put this on our card front, like this, and we'll put some on the string. There we go. Have any of you noticed that I'm being pretty brave leaving the Lost Lagoon ink open? It's amazing that I haven't put my hand in it yet. Let's use this other little piece. I think I could use one of the labels from the kit, but I think I like using this sort of linen-y look from the bag paper. So I'll just put thank you like that, and then I think on this one I'm going to just trim the two edges like this and put this down here, and that way it ties that in together. Now I don't need to put anything on the inside, or at least not any, I could stamp something on the inside, but I don't have to put a piece of white or anything because it's easy to write on this. But let's see about maybe using our foliage, stamping it off a little bit, so just lightly, and then add it here. Like that. That way we have just a little bit of something on the inside. All right, there's two. How are we doing here? Well, we're doing pretty good on time, actually. I'm pretty pleased. Okay, so I thought we'd do a quick fancy fold, or fun fold. And this one uses a piece of the Inked Botanicals designer series paper and a piece of Berry Vanilla. Did you see what I just did? I just pinched that closed without lining up the corners. I got lucky this time. Don't count on getting lucky though. Doesn't always happen, so you want to just be sure. All right, so I used some Inked Botanical paper because it's got the Lost Lagoon in there, and some colors that I thought would go nicely with the pumpkins. Okay, and then I'm using one of the mini cards, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do. We're going to put this on the front. I could even use this side actually, but I'm going to use this side. But I think the Petal Pink and Calypso Coral would look just fine. So we'll put this on here, and then we can tuck this one around the whole card and adhere it to the back so that then this opens and then this opens. I thought that would look kind of cool. So let's put some adhesive on the inside of here. I know, and you say, but the fold is on the wrong side. Well, it is for a traditional card, but since we're going to have a fun fold, it's just fine. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this edge and I'm going to go right next to the score line, but not touching the score line of this mini card. And I'm going to try, and the grid paper helps a lot. Okay, I'm going to try and have about the same amount of squares on both sides, and I can do just about 4. And I think I'm also going to stand up because it helps me to see what I'm doing here. So you can see I'm going next to that fold but not touching it. Okay, and so now it will fold closed, and I probably need to give it a little crease with the bone folder because it probably wants to try and open. Okay, yep, it does. Now we could put, and I think I probably will, I could just do all the decorating here, but I'm going to put one of the pumpkins just off, or I could even do the leaves like this and put them attached here with dimensionals so that this comes up and out from under, so that it has something that helps it stay closed. So let's put a dimensional here and a dimensional here, And I think that'll do it. Okay. So then what we want to do is make sure your leaves aren't hanging over the edge of the card or it won't fit in your envelope. Okay, but also make sure that your dimensionals aren't touching where this card is going to go. And so you'll see that we can then take that out of there. Okay, and then it'll pop back in. Now we can do the decorating here, and we can kind of make it look like, I think, we can have our, let's see if that will work. Yeah, it still comes off. I think it'll be all right if we do that. If I don't attach it, I think it will be okay. All right, let's put a little adhesive up near the top, nothing down near the bottom. Okay, so we're going to put this up here like that. So then we can do that, and we can tuck it back in there. See? Perfect. And then we'll do this one over here. And again, we're just going to do our adhesive, not touching and I didn't do that exactly right. Okay, here. Let's turn our pumpkin this way. Like that. It's not exactly where I wanted that stem, but you know, it's okay. And then we can add this with a couple of glue dots. Use my snips and just put one up here and one over here and one kind of down here. There we go. There. Okay. Then we can have just looking for the rest of the stamp set. Oh, here it is. And just put a little grateful for you. I think that'll fit on here. Yep. And we'll just put that over here. And we can even put that just like that. All right, let's take off thank you and grab grateful for you. There we go. And put that. And this can hang over. It can go on because this, as long as you don't put anything sticky over there. So if we only put adhesive on this edge and tuck it under that leaf a little bit, that can hang over like that. So now we can take this out and it opens here, and now you have all that room for a little note or something. Then you just tuck that right back in there like that. Thought that was kind of fun. All right, so our last one, oh, before we get to our last one, let me just show you something real quick on this scrap. Okay, just to show you the, it won't be the right colors, but let me just show you the pumpkin here. just take this off. Getting a whole lot on there. Might need something a little bigger. All right. There. Let's clean that. Probably just got, yep. Okay. Okay. I'll just put a few of these back where they go. That way, I can have the little one for the stem. Okay. All right. So let's have our pumpkin. And let's have our pumpkin get stamped off a little bit. Ooh, what did I do to that? Hang on. Okay, whoops. There we go. All right, so we'll quickly just take a little of that off. And we'll put it on here. Okay. And then we'll find our stem. And you'll see that if you hover right around it, and it'll help if you have a different color, you just put the stem right in there, and it fits right in there, okay? But it would look way better if I had pumpkin pie or calypso coral or something for the pumpkin, and then crumb cake or something for the stem. But I just wanted to show you that those two images work really nicely together. So let's clean that off. All right. Okay. So now I have this one. So again, I have just the pieces. Actually, I have the pieces for one bag, okay, and one card here. So those are the die cuts for one card and one bag. I'm going to use them all on one card. So I'm using my Lost Lagoon card base that I've already folded. I have some very vanilla with the distressed tile. And then one of the little card, I cut it right on the score line and just cut that little square. So we're going to have our card kind of go this way. So it'll be a top open. And I'm going to add this over here like that. So let's get those on there, and then we can start adding all our fancy decorations. Okay. There we go. So we'll put this over here. There we are. Then we'll add, actually I think I might use liquid glue because this has so many bumpy edges. This glue will just kind of settle into some of those grooves a little bit easier. So sometimes that liquid glue is a good thing to have. It's also pretty economical if you don't use a lot. There we go. Let's just give that a press. And sometimes what I like to do is open it and press it from the back. Like here. Okay, so that should be all there. All right, we are going to do a little stamping, but let me just close that so I don't end up with it everywhere. So let's do a little arranging. Let's take our biggest piece of gold, and we want to make sure we're not hanging over the edge. Okay, so we'll put that there. Do a little arranging here. We'll put this coming way off over this edge. So we're kind of disguising a little bit those edges of the, and we'll have this one come this way, and we'll add our pumpkin leaves and our 2 pumpkins. Okay, so we have a really pretty looking card front, and then we can add our grateful for you. All right, so let's take a few things off at a time, and that way we can use some of those glue dots that got tucked over here and put them on here. And because there will be other things on top of this helping to hold it down, I don't feel the need to do very many. 3 or 4 are plenty of glue dots for this. In fact, I think 3 will do it just nicely. Okay. There we go. Just tuck that right there. And there's just a couple of glue dots just to kind of help it stay there, but we're going to have lots of other things, so it's okay. So you can kind of think about that. How many layers, you know, how many things are going to be helping to stick this down, you know? So you can always have that working a little bit more. Okay. There we go. And this one is going to kind of go down this way, like that. Okay, so we'll just sort of tacking those down in place. All right, then we'll use some of our other adhesive because I can use a little bit more, and put this way. And again, I'm making sure, so I'm tacking the edges of those leaves, but I'm also making sure that I'm not going over the edge. You don't want it falling out. All right, let's use some adhesive on this taller, I think this is eucalyptus, these rounded leaves. I think that's that plant, but I could be totally wrong. The person that would know that would be my future son-in-law. But I don't necessarily. All right, so let's do the pumpkins. And I think I'm going to do this pumpkin flat. And then just because I can, let's add this one with dimensionals just to give the card a little depth and texture. Okay, it's got quite a lot. So this adhesive is going through. So there's plenty of adhesive holding these things down. Okay, so you don't need to worry about them getting up and running away or anything. Okay. I used to tell the first graders that a lot with their pencil because they'd be holding it really, really tight and then their hands would get tired. I said, you know, I have never yet seen a pencil get up and run away. You don't have to hold on to it that tight. And then they would be a little bit more relaxed. All right, let's grab one of those greetings. What have we not used yet? We've used grateful for you. We've used thanks. Well, I like grateful for you. You know what? I use just plain old thanks more often. So let's do that. Oh, you know what? This is long though. I know. Silly Leslie, you're being indecisive. Just choose and do it, right? Just do it. All right. Let's take the pumpkin off and put that away. There we go. And I can use that. I really love this kit so much. It is so beautiful. And I think that if you're hosting Thanksgiving dinner, perhaps you could use the bags as some kind of treat or centerpiece or something, and the little cards could even be like place cards. So lots of fun ways to use this kit, I think. There we go. All right. So I didn't get to share all the ideas that I found, but if you check out the Paper Pumpkin Fan Club or pop over to YouTube, you will find lots and lots of people. I bet Pinterest, if you're one of those folks that likes Pinterest, you'll probably find a lot of ideas there as well. So let's take a look at our 4 different cards that we did. So this was our last one where we used all the die cuts and one of the fronts of the mini card. Okay. Then we have this one where we used a piece of the bag and we stamped and cut out, used part of the envelope. Okay. And we used this one where we used this part of the envelope, well, the bag. Okay. And then we had our little fun fold that opens like that and then tucks back in. And you can get the pumpkins to go back over the top if you want. Okay. So I hope that was fun. I hope I didn't overstay, take advantage of your time. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. I will be live tomorrow night with a little bit of creativity, and I think I might be doing an alcohol technique tomorrow night, or maybe a fun fold. Haven't quite decided. It might depend on how much time I have after school to get ready. Anyway, so it was great to have you here. Oh, Vicki, I am so glad you were here. So, and Vicki, I'll see you tomorrow at school. So thanks so much for joining me, and if you are catching me on the replay, just drop that in the comments like, hey, catching you on the replay. All right, thanks so much, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.